Philip. It's great to see you. Welcome to this edition of our undergraduate roadmap for change. Today we have the University of Cape Town with us, and we are very excited to have them here with us. It's one of our close partner universities. My name is Sihlengesi Makubane, and I am the Chief of Staff at Jake's Gerwel Fellowship. Great to see everyone here. We have a wonderful speaker here with us who has joined us for a couple of sessions in the previous years, and we are very excited to have you here. So let's begin with a bit of a recap of how far we've come and where we are today. So we started off by exploring our vision and mission at Jake's Gerwel Fellowship, and we were really looking at what makes us who we are and what we are about and what are we seeking to achieve really as a fellowship. And then we followed that up with speaking to staff and fellows from the Jakes Gerwel Fellowship who shared with the attendees then that, here, look, this is how you actually apply, and these are the kind of things that you need to think about. We then spoke to the first of our university partners yesterday, the University of Pretoria, where they shared with us what it takes to get into the university, what options of study are there, etc. And today, as mentioned, we have the University of Cape Town with us, and you will be hearing from them soon. If you've missed any of these episodes, worry not, or if you want to share with your friends, you can always go onto our YouTube page where the clips are being uploaded every day. That said, if you want to go into our YouTube, it's Jake's Gerwel Fellowship. On Facebook, it's at Jake's Gerwel Fellowship, and Twitter is at JG Fellowship. Please do share with your friends and your family and anyone else who's really interested, who you think, wow, this person would make a wonderful teacher. So without further ado, let me introduce a colleague of mine, Mzwandile, who is your host for today and will be taking you through the rest of the program. Mzwandile, over to you.
Oh, hi, Sise. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the session once more. I'd like to thank you for joining us. So as the Jakes Gerwel Fellowship, we invite these university partners to have conversations with us, as Sise has mentioned. The intention basically comes to how can one apply to these universities so that you know where to go and what to do. So what we expect from today's session is a conversation, as Sisi mentioned, with UCT and their application process. Having a conversation with Grenumzi, who is a student recruitment manager at UCT. And then we have invited a few of our candidate fellows who are currently studying at UCT to be able to share some tips with you because they've walked this journey that you currently find yourselves in. They have filled out the Jakes Gerwel Fellowship application, and they've been at university for a while. They understand the nature of one, studying during lockdown and being at UCT as well, the kind of support that's available. So we don't just want for you to think, hey, we have an agenda with UCT. Yes, we do, but it's a good one. What we're trying to do is to get you guys to attend one of the best universities in the world. So we don't just want you to hear from us or just the UCT representative, but we brought on our candidate fellows who are students and will be able to share some tips in terms of assisting you with your application and perhaps have a conversation on why they've chose this journey of impact and wanting to be teachers as well. And then we'll be hearing from you. You would be sharing some of your questions, some of your comments based on the presentation, and then we'll get back and answer those with you. So we have our CEO who would be assisting us. So you can use the Q&A option while we're having the conversation just to share on the chat any questions that you might have, and we'll be addressing those live. However, there's still an opportunity towards the end of the presentation where you would be able to have a chance to ask some of your questions. So as the Jakes Gerwel Fellowship, right, we believe in this roadmap and this roadmap for change. So there's an African proverb that says, if you want to go far, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So we are inviting you on this journey to come with us so that you can go far in impacting the education system of South Africa by you becoming an expert teacher, by you contributing to this journey. And as we are saying, we're not doing this alone. We brought today Kunumzi from the University of Cape Town, who will be able to share with you the tips and tricks. How can you apply? How can you ensure that everything you've done, you've set yourself for success, you put your best foot forward? How can you, as a student, take this journey in your own hands with our support and together walk using this map as a roadmap for change, in changing and impacting the world to the kind of South Africa of our longing, the kind of world where we can all be proud and say we've provided the best options for our kids. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Renumzi, Mr. Hatuse, who's a student recruitment manager at UCT. He's very passionate about youth development. So this is not just a job for him. So we hope we'll be also giving you guys tips in terms of how you can also find yourselves in these spaces where you are really passionate about the career and not just having a job. Kununzi, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Thank you for that lovely introduction. I'm good, Mzwandile. Thank you. And how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for joining us today, sir. I understand you're also traveling, but because you believe in what we do at the Jack's Fellowship and you believe in this journey, you decided, no, I'm going to take a break and have this conversation and share this wonderful news and information with incoming students at UCT. And we hope after this session, people will go right ahead and be able to apply at your institution. So Mr. Konumzi, without any further ado, what I'll do is I'll stop sharing and enable you to share with us.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Molweni, Sanubonani, Dumelang. My name is Tsenumzi Aduse. I'm the Student Recruitment Manager of the University of Cape Town. So what I'm gonna do this afternoon is to just give a brief presentation about the university itself, but I'll be focusing mainly on 3 faculties out of the 6 the university offers, but they mainly will be looking now at the crux of the matter. How do you get in at UCT? Then after that, I'll be open to take some of the questions that might be coming out anyway. By the way, I might just say that Cape Town, being a neighboring state into South Africa, where in Europe in there it's raining. When I left this morning, it was kind of very, very bad. So that's what you need to understand. That's one of the reasons that at least you need to leave a little bit of South Africa and come to our neighboring state, which is Cape Town. So without any further ado, the University of Cape Town is a medium-sized type of an institution sitting at about 29,000 students. So out of these 29,000 students, we draw them from all walks of life. We have a very, very good representation in more than 100 countries, of which out of those, mainly are our African brothers. We draw a lot of students from countries like Zimbabwe, countries like Nigeria, like Kenya, like Mauritius, like Botswana, but we have also very good partnerships with universities overseas, like specifically in the United States, University of North Carolina in Greensboro, University of Albany in New York. So what happens is that these students from these countries and the universities in the US I've just mentioned, they come to UCT for a period of 6 months in what we call as the semester abroad. So they will move from their university, come and do the 6 month month, whatever program they are doing, be it in the Faculty of Humanities or in commerce, whatever the situation might be. Then after that, they go back with credits from UCT, and then another cohort of students will come and join the University of Cape Town. We also do send some of our students. Yes, I understand with the Gerwel Fellowship that you must be working within South Africa for that period of time. But it could give you the links, who knows, that maybe once you have done, you have paid your dues in here, you can go and work in there. But how do you get to these universities? One, you must first be a registered student of the University of Cape Town, and then you need to acquire and accumulate some credits. We cannot just send you to go overseas and just embarrass us. As I said in my introductory remarks, we're sitting with 6 different faculties, but for the purpose of this presentation, when we're doing now the theme of the year for the Gerwel Fellowship, the Roadmap for Change, we shall be focusing on 3 different faculties, which I'm gonna tease them. UCT, again, COVID or no COVID, we're still happy to manage to maintain our top university, our top spot as the top university in the whole continent. I mean, the Time Higher Education supplement is giving us as the top university. One university that is coming according to the QS rankings, we appear in the top 200 in the world. But this is the most important one. Last year, we received 44,000 applications. And remember, when you apply to UCT, you have got 2 choices, the first choice and the second choice. So this means technically we received 88,000 applications. How many first years can we take? Only 4,000. I am putting this here not to scare people, but for people to understand the competition that we have, the competition of spaces within the university. Then I'm getting later in my presentation on how to get to UCT. But please, I wanted to flag it at the very beginning of my first slide that we receive 88,000 applications for only 4,000 spaces. What do we offer? We offer the Faculty of Commerce. This is one of the most popular faculties that the university has. We receive quite a number of applications. Out of the 4,000 I've spoken about, Commerce leads with 1,000 first years. That's where you want to study to become a chartered accountant, or you want to major in accounting as one of your teaching subjects, or you want to take the actuarial science because you want to make big bucks out there, or you are just interested in teaching economics within the school. You want to teach business studies. All those, they are within that Faculty of Commerce. I had a very, very interesting conversation with one of the teachers who says, for me, if the universities during this time, and COVID has shown us flames, COVID has shown us that where our limitations are. It says if the universities in the business studies can teach the students how to make employment than teaching students how to become employees, that would help. That is where, when we talk about commerce, we talk about the innovations that the teachers who have studied this particular degree, be it a BCom or be it a business science, which are both offered both as a mainstream or in an extended program. Those are the type of people that we need to go out there and try to give the change, to make the impact that we're looking for in our country. The next faculty is the Faculty of Humanities. It's one of my favorite faculties at UCT. I love it for a number of reasons. One, it does not give any specific subjects. We are happy even if you have done mathematics or you have done mathematical literacy, it doesn't matter. As long as you have got the points, you'll be allowed to come and study a BA program at UCT. This is where we talk about social sciences. By social sciences, we refer to subjects like history that we need. We need to understand the history of our country, what is happening around now. So we need to keep this information so that we can put it into our generations as we grow along. We can come and study psychology is one of these. In the case of psychology, it helps, it makes a huge impact, more especially with what is happening now with schools, because these teachers, they need to understand what are the issues around this particular learner. Why is he or she behaving in this manner? So those things, they are taught in the Faculty of Humanities. We talk about fine arts. We need drawing, people who come and make these beautiful arts that when you look at, you are able to interpret. Some of us were introverts. They can't even speak, but what they draw, it speaks volumes in how they feel when they are trying to express themselves. So as I said earlier, we are not looking for a specific subject. We are happy with whatever you have done. What is important is that you're going to get into this. And again, by the way, what I like about the Faculty of Humanities is it takes away the stereotypes that a lot of people will think because you have been to UCT, you studied music together with English. So definitely we're going to see you singing. You may decide that after 3 years, yes, you have got your major in music. Yes, you have got your major in English, but you want now after your postgraduate diploma or your postgraduate certificate, then you say, I want to also do on a part-time basis a postgraduate diploma in marketing. So that now has taken away the stereotypic thinking that people think you were doing history, then you must be a history teacher. It unlocks the chains and then it opens the minds for all the people, because at the end of the day, the degree does not define you, but it gives you the wings so that you can go and fly and become the better version of who you are supposed to be. The next faculty is the Faculty of Science. Again, those guys who are interested in studying BSc, be it you want to do your life sciences, be it you want to do your mathematics, be it you want to do your physics. Again, it is in this faculty that you can come and do your 3 years, your BSc. Then after 3 years, you do your postgraduate diploma in teaching. Then you are doing your teaching practice at the same time. You become the science teacher that South Africa craves so more. You become the mathematics teacher that South Africa is craving to have. You can do even the information technology, which can also be linked even in the case of humanities, whereby you are doing your history in there, or you take your informatics, which is now drawn from another faculty, be it you are taking it from the Faculty of Commerce, or you are taking it from the Faculty of Science. Then you are doing your BA in informatics. We talk of you now doing computer programming in these schools. So these are the main faculties that the Gerwel Fellowship Foundation is what is feeding our students about at UCT. And we're very, very happy and grateful that in the top 200 young South Africans, we have about 3 of the JGF that are coming from there. It means kudos to them. We shall continue to support them. That is the menu that the University of Cape Town offers. But the crux of the matter is, how do you get in? Fasten your seatbelt. UCT uses a very, very interesting way of admission. We have what we call the bands. It's band A, band B, and band C. In band A, we talk about a guaranteed admission. For example, you want to come to study at UCT and study commerce. We talk about 480 points. I'm going to explain to you how do we do the points calculation. So if you have gotten the 480 points, that means you are guaranteed your acceptance into UCT. Then we talk about what we call the weighted point score, which is band B. The band B, this is where the bulk of our admission happens. Here, we look at a number of factors. that could have contributed to your performance. For example, we're going to look at your school. Which school are you coming from? And then we derive what we call a disadvantage factor. Or this disadvantage factor may be derived from your home. So again, this helps those who are studying in a particular school. I'll just make a wide example. Let's say somebody who goes to Sinetemba Senior Secondary School in Cape Town. All those learners must get the same disadvantage factor because they've got the same teachers, they've got the same hall, they've got the same laboratory, they get almost everything within the same school. But there could be a difference in terms of those because now when we look at their home disadvantage, some of them, their parents have never been to school. Some of them, their parents have been to school but did not get the degrees. So that's where we get all that information. It is automated into the system as you apply. We ask your name. What is your name? My name is Tenumzi Aduse. What are you applying for? You give us your two choices, the first choice and the second choice. Then the third question would be, which school do you go to? So immediately you give us the name of your school, that calculation is automated. It comes into what we call the weighted point score. And then we continue. As you fill in the application, we ask you the questions that are going now to derive what we call the home disadvantage. Then the last band, which is band C, as I said at the beginning, this is the top university in Africa. Therefore, we have what we call a social responsibility now to take care of all of Africa, specifically our country, which is South Africa. We understand, and the COVID, once again, I repeat, it has shown the disparities that our country has. That by now, there is a very interesting picture of two girls who are, it has been trending on Twitter for quite some time. Two girls who are coming from school, you look from them, they're probably from the rural areas. They say, we are not against the online learning, but what about us? So those are the type of students that we look at in band C, that hang on, they have performed. They've performed well, but because of the circumstances, be it they are from the deep rural areas or they are from the West Townships. For instance, I was talking about the rain that is happening in Cape Town. If you go to Cape Town and Khayelitsha, people are standing up because it's flooding. Those sort of things we look at, they must perform. They must still perform, yes, but now, how do we try to work and assist them into this? These are the guys that we accept at UCT, and they might be in what we call the extended program. Instead of doing the BCom for 3 years, they will do it for a period of 4 years. Instead of doing the BA for 3 years, we're going to put them in an extended program. So that is how the UCT admission takes place. Now, let's look to the points calculation. Very, very important. UCT has got the highest number of points, more than any other university in South Africa. Out of the 26 universities, UCT has got the highest number of points. But how we do the points calculation is very fair. It's better than any other university. We add up the percentages that a candidate obtains in metric. We do not add up the rating. For example, if somebody got 70% in mathematics and someone else got 75% in the same mathematics, those two applicants are sitting at level 6. But UCT will say 70%, 70 points, 75%, 75 points. So I challenge you that after this presentation, please go grab your grade 11 final result, or your grade 10 if you're in grade 10, or if you're in grade 11, or your grade 9 report, and then you do the points calculation. Out of the 7 subjects you are supposed to be doing, you add up your percentages, excluding life orientation. So if your points are less than 400 points at the moment, if when you do your calculation out of 600, You are sitting at less than 400. That is where now you need to start working. It is not all lost, not at all. But you need to start working now, specifically if you intend to come and join us under that mountain. So how do you work? You start with a prayer, you make a short prayer. And in your short prayer, even if you are in matric right now, it's not lost. You didn't do well in grade 11, doesn't matter. But you need to join me in this prayer. And in your prayer, because you want to come and join the University of Cape Town, you tell God that wena nkosi uyazi, that I want to come and join the University of Cape Town. So therefore, out of all my misforgivings that I've done, I'm going to start and work now. Why am I saying 400? It's because out of the 4,000 students that I was talking about, none of them has been accepted at 400 points. So that means when you get now the UCT prospectus, we talk about 450 points, we talk about 430 points, we talk about 480 points. So all that, but we build your application. How do we build your application? UCT is live with application right now. We opened until the 31st of August. So as I said, when you apply, you have got your two choices, your first choice and your second choice. What do we need? We need your grade 11 final results. If you didn't do well in grade 11, still send your application and keep improving. So there's a high possibility now that most schools are not going to write the June examination. It's okay. We understand, we relax, we have got you covered. We're gonna wait for your prelims. When the prelims comes, because of any frustration that you might have encountered, because of all the situations that are happening, you do not meet our requirements again. Don't worry, we're such a patient institution. We know how hard it is to get the top achiever. We're gonna wait for your final results. So my point here, folks, is we are looking, the only result that you will receive a letter to say you have not been accepted at UCT will be your final grade 12. So what does that mean? Apply with what you have and keep improving. Do not wait for better sets of results, which most of the time do not come anyway. Apply with what you have and keep improving. When you apply, we have got your housing application inside that. We simply ask you, do you want housing? You tick yes. And then again, as you're applying, we have got your the funding information. So in that one, NSFAS is applied separately. I will speak quickly to it. As I said, 1 May to the 31st of August is our application. We have got your two choices. What happened if you did well in your grade 11? If you did well in your grade 11, you stand a very good chance of getting what we call a conditional offer. Conditional offer means we take you to be the student of the University of Cape Town, provided you maintain this performance at the end of the year. If not, you keep capturing your results as and when you receive them. The NBTs, they are back at UCT. You have to write the NBT, the National Benchmark Test, specifically if you are applying for the Faculty of Commerce, the Faculty of Humanities, and the Faculty of Science. Those three faculties, you have to write the NBTs. In the case of the Faculty of Commerce and the Faculty of Science, you have to write all the papers. But for humanities, you may only write one paper. You may not write the mathematics paper, because, as I said, in the case of humanities, we are happy if you are doing mathematics or you are doing mathematical light, it does not matter. So as I said, capture your results, monitor your application. Once everything is done, once we have received your final results now, how nice it is when you receive that letter from UCT to say, dear Sihle, we believe you have got two offers from UCT. Which one do you take when others have none? And then by then, you simply reject the one that you do not want and accept the one that you want. And then you pack your bags, you come and join us in Cape Town. Why? Because you have made it in life. Now, accommodation quickly before I take your questions. The case of accommodation, this is one of the most important things that you need to do. You apply for your application, your two choices. Then we ask you, do you want accommodation? You simply tick yes. So at the moment, we've got for first years, there is this a very interesting scenario that a lot of people, they are choosing accommodations. I want to be in this particular residence. We do not do that. We don't choose a residence. It's gonna be random allocated to you. So please do not stress. At the moment, we're working on a single room. Yes, we do have double rooms, but because of the COVID-19 protocols, we're trying to maintain the issue of social distancing. So what is the criteria for admission? We look for a number of things. For example, the high flyers. If you're a high flyer, and a high flyer for us is somebody who's sitting at 540 points. So I've told you how you do the points calculation, the adding up of your percentages out of the 6 subjects. So if you are sitting at 540 points, that's a 90% average. And we believe you belong nowhere else except at UCT. So definitely we're going to give you a space in the residences. So, but what if you are not a high flyer like myself? What do? Then the faculties, 6 of them, they've got the number of spaces which they use for their own applicants. So please do not be perturbed that you are not a high flyer. For example, humanities, we're saying 450 points, you come with 500 points. Then humanities may say, hang on, we're giving you a place in the residences. Again, we've got people who are coming from all these different organizations, like the Gerwel Fellowship. We've got people who are on financial aid. Those are the people that we prioritize that they must get accommodation into our residences. My last slide is around the issue of the fees and the funding. The tuition at UCT, it is what we call the cost-based. It is all inclusive. We're talking about the residence. We're talking about the 3 different campuses that the university has. We've got a fleet of about 30 buses. They are blue in color. We call them the Jemmy Shuttle. Their main duty is to transport students from one that is inclusive. You do not have to pay. The parents have paid already. The same applies to the issue of the Wi-Fi that we're talking about, together with the data that we're using now, specifically for our students during this time, since most of them are working online. All that is inclusive. Same as the case of the residence and accommodation, you choose, do you want 3 meals a day or do you want 2 meals a day? All that will be paid for. Then again, we talk about the issue of funding. In the case of funding, you talk NSFAS. It's very, very important that I put it here. We used to apply for NSFAS within the university, but now NSFAS has gone separate. So you apply on your own. We only receive the recipients of the NSFAS from the NSFAS offices. So please, when you put your application, make sure that you have applied to NSFAS as well. We talk about free education. These are the guys that our government of South Africa, in as much as most of the time we are up there, up in arms about what they do not offer. But at least for those children whose parents by now are sitting by those streets of Cape Town selling fruit, at least they can be able to get into university as well in what is known as the free NSFAS. There's a threshold that they look at depending on the affordability of this. But what does UCT offer? We offer scholarships. So scholarships are based on merit, like the entrance scholarship or the vice chancellor scholarship. You do not apply, your marks will do the trick. These are the people who are the top achievers in the Olympiads, or they're sitting in the top 10 in the whole country. Those are the people that we're gonna entice with the vice chancellor scholarship so that they come and join us into that university. Then the last one is the sports scholarship. Sports scholarship is also given to men and women who have done exceptionally well. Their diligence must have caught the eye of the provincial or national selectors. Then we're going to consider them for the sports scholarship. My parting way, or the parting line for this afternoon is, if you intend to study in South Africa, That means you don't want to go overseas. And UCT happens to offer what you want to study. Then there is no other destination except UCT. My name is Tsinumzi Haduse, and I say join UCT. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Benomzi. That was a wonderful presentation, covered a lot, and I believe that our attendees will basically get as much information from it. I only have a few questions for you. One is the application fee. So how much does it cost, and is it refundable?
Great. The application fee for UCT is 100 Rand, and it is non-refundable. But I want to put it in here. If it happens that you do not have the 100 Rand application fee, that must not derail you from applying to UCT. Go to the website or request even a form, because we have forms now based on what I was explaining. The two girls who have touched my soul. What do? We are not against online learning, but we do not have access. So if you do not have 100 Rand, because some households, that 100 Rand will go a long way. Apply, send your results to UCT, you will be accepted.
Thank you so much for that. So we have a question from Julianne around the NBTs, and I think you did answer that question. So her question is, are they required at UCT? And I think you've answered that.
Yes, they are required at UCT with the exception of the Faculty of Engineering.
Yes, what I wanted to perhaps for you to add, where can one find the information on when to apply to write and where?
Okay, before you start your application, you need to visit the website for the NBTs. It's www.nbt.ac.za, and then you need to register or book a test. So once you have booked a test, they are written until very late in the year. The last date is the 2nd of October. So you can choose a date that suits you. So once you have done that, you are going to receive what we call a reference number. So we need that reference number before you can submit your application. So in order for you to apply first, you need to register to write the NBTs. You can pick up the date even if it's later in the year.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So just to remind our colleagues about the dates, the 31st of August is the closing date for applications. And then for NBT is the 2nd of October. And for the Gerwel fellowship, it's the 19th of July. So colleagues, the sooner you apply, because we will need your proof that you've applied at the university when you're applying for the Gerwel fellowship. So my last question, Tunumzi, is on what kind of support does the university provide beyond academic support? Because on the application process, I think in terms of social justice and ensuring that those who need the opportunity get it. But I'm a student now, I'm there, it's COVID, what other support can I get?
Oh, thank you very much. That's a critical question. Very, very important. As I said when I was explaining in the issue of our accommodation, that we are not at full capacity. So students, at first, they are invited to come into the residences, because if you do not have enough connectivity, because mainly now we're working online, so we invite you to come into our residences. So within the residences, the issue of social distancing is very important. Hence, we say we're not at full capacity. For instance, the double rooms, they are no longer sharing, you'll be living alone in that. But when it comes to the support, the University of Cape Town it It has got a lot of support when it comes to the social and psychological issues that students might have. Our student wellness is very important to do our students into the residences, and is empowered with a lot of social workers, a lot of psychologists, that our students sometimes, even during this time, they can even work with them online. You are sitting in your room, but you are not feeling well, then you can simply dial a number and then get the sort of a psychological help on that. And this is perpetrated mainly by the setup within the university. In the residences, we've got the senior students who are there to assist those who are coming in the terms of the house committee, the sub-wardens, and we've got mentors who are there. As a student, as a first year, you are assigned a mentor, then you become a mentee. This is an individual who is here to look and help you into this transition between university and high school. So we are sitting there, and I believe we are very, very covered. We're doing whatever we can to assist our students on that regard.
Thank you so much. I'll just ask the next question from Mpomu Klo. So the question is, with COVID restrictions, how many students can get residence now?
So we're supposed to be sitting at about 6,800 students, but at the moment, because of the COVID restrictions, we have gone down up to 2,500 in terms of our students, the cohort that are in the residences. But as I said again, a residence which is supposed to be taking about 230, that particular residence has gone down to take half of that, so that we are complying to the COVID-19 protocols.
Okay, thank you so much for that. As a parting shot, what advice would you give to the people who are here now in choosing a career? Because as the Gerwel Fellowship, we are advocating for the teaching profession. So what advice would you give for young people who are in that position, considering the teaching profession? However, parents, teachers, they might not be favorable in that regard.
For me, the parting ways would be, I think I've mentioned in here when I was talking about humanities per se, that a career does not define you as an individual. Once you get into the program, is where you get now the opportunity to be able to help each other. So one, you need to make sure that when you're choosing a career, you are not following friends. It must be something that is within you as an individual. It's just like choosing the university. Yes, I speak on behalf of the University of Cape Town, but if the University of Cape Town does not offer what you want to study, I tell you now, do not come to UCT. Then what happens, what next that you need to be looking at as an individual is you need to make sure that you make an impact to another individual. People are not remembered about how much they have, but they are remembered about what impact did they had to other people. And there are no people who have got an impact more than any other except teachers. So if you are there and you know that in your life journey, you want to give out, you want to assist, then that means teaching is in you. You go for it and assist those. Yes, I understand teaching, specifically during this time, everybody is running away from teaching. They are getting in there, but they are getting to what they call the positions that are high paying. But what is important to get a 50,000 Rand a month when you go to bed, you cry tears, than to get 20,000 Rand, but when you go to bed, you are the happiest person ever.
Thank you so much. Speaking about people who've joined this journey and who have chosen to join us as the Gerwel Fellowship in this journey of impact, speaking about people who've looked at what who've chosen actually to sleep and not cry. I would like to introduce our candidate fellows. They'll be sharing a bit of who they are, where they're from, and how they found UCT so far. So Munaka, can you please join us?
Hi everyone, I hope you're all well and I hope you're all warm and keeping safe. My name is Monaka Mnyai. I'm a second year UCT student. I'm originally from Limpopo in Polokwane and I attended PEPS College for my high school. I'm currently enrolled in a 3-year Bachelor of Arts degree, and that's based in the Humanities faculty. My majors are history and English, and that has to do with what drives me for teaching. So I loved my history and English teachers, and they were highly impactful and valuable for my learning curve and development as an individual, but more importantly, as a student that is now geared towards studying education. So what also drives my passion for teaching is based on a personal experience, because the trajectory of my life easily could have gone wayward or could have gone in a completely different direction. And that's why I think education is very important. It's an important intervention tool in our society. And that's why I'm passionate about it. I want to be the same people who invested in me, that mentored me, that exposed me to opportunities around education or geared around education that ensured that I was able to, meet a trajectory of life that is much better and much more interesting and fascinating. And so my UCT experience so far has been pretty interesting. Obviously, because of the pandemic, can't really say what UCT has been like. But in terms of online learning, I think what I can take from it is that it is a good experience, and it's one that is going to stretch you and one that's going to open you up to a lot more opportunities to learn about yourself, the people around you, as well as your degree. I genuinely enjoy my history and English subject matter and content. I think it's very cohesive, and the concepts that we learn there are very interesting, and I can't wait to apply them in my teaching profession. But my advice for any new applicants, first things first, that I recommend, especially in humanities, because it's such a flexible degree and you have a lot of breathing room and space in constructing your curriculum, like what sort of majors you want, or if you want certain electives, or how you want your curriculum to look a certain way. First things first that I recommend is please read your PGCE requirements on the UCT website. It's going to save you a lot of hassle when you do have to construct your curriculum and choose your majors. You're going to be geared towards subjects that you can teach later on in life, or electives that you are interested in that aren't going to be teachable. So please, please, please read your PGCE requirements. Second thing is read the Humanities Student Guidebook. It's going to save you a lot of hassle as well when you are attending the O-Week meetings and you're not too sure with certain concepts and terms. If you familiarize yourself with them earlier on, it makes your learning journey so much easier. And then lastly, open yourself up to being stretched intellectually, mentally, politically, socially. You're going to meet a lot of interesting people. You're going to come across a lot of learning curves and a lot of interesting things. I know interesting is not the best adjective, but yeah, you're going to learn a lot. So open yourself up to just being stretched and being supported as well. When you do need help, speak up. That's what JGF is for. And when you are going through something, it's always important to reach out for support. So yeah, I think just try and make the most of being part of a UCT society and the JGF society and the JGF family, because it's going to be an experience that stretches you and expands your horizons greatly. Hope you enjoyed the insightful meeting.
Thank you so much, Munaka. That was very insightful, and thank you for your advice. And I would like to bring on Lance Kemper. Hi, Lance.
Oh, there we go. So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much. So my name is Lance Kemper, and I am a year A candidate fellow at Gerwel Fellowship, which means not too long ago, I was sitting exactly where you are sitting, and not too long ago, I was going through the same application process that you might be going through. So as mentioned, my name is Lance Kemper. I'm doing a 3-year general Bachelor's of Arts degree, also majoring in history and English. And I think from that, one can derive what my teaching subjects are going to be, and I'll elaborate on the why. So specifically with history. It's very rare in today's society that you find a young, vibrant, passionate history teacher. And I think we all know what specifically a high school learner's opinion is about the subject history. And that is what drew me into taking history as my major, but also making history my teaching subject. I want to be part of the shifting of mindset. I want to, as an aspiring expert teacher, bring this much needed energy into our history classrooms. With English, I need to be honest, I always wanted to major in Afrikaans and teach it as a second additional language. Because myself and Shakespeare, we were never friends. From high school, when we started, we were never friends. And then I was sitting through a JGF webinar last year, and it was brought into light how many learners actually struggles to read and write English. And it is at that point that I decided, no, I want to do Afrikaans, but I need to do English. So that is what drew me into taking English also as my major. What drives me into education at Gerwel? They always ask you what fires you up, what gets you out of bed in the morning. And that is, I've always wanted to be part of change. And what better way than to have the opportunity to mold and influence young lives? I believe that every child has the ability to reach their full potential with just a push in the right direction. And sometimes in the society we live today, they can't get it at home. And that is where the expert teacher steps in. I go by something that says by grooming expert teachers, and I want to read it, our classrooms and having expert teachers in our classrooms, our education system will have expert learners, which will ultimately at the end lead to expert societies. And that is what JGF is about. That is what JGF does. They groom these expert teachers. So just on the applying to the University of Cape Town side, I'd like to start by acknowledging that any application one does has the ability to become long and draggy. And therefore, it literally comes down to, as the applicant, telling yourself, I'm putting aside the next few hours to complete this application. I'm putting it aside to not just complete it, but do so successfully. For me, applying to UCT, it was quite straightforward. It was basically the application form asks you a question and you answer it. But it was also overwhelming because for a few hours, all you heard in my household was, what is your ID number? What is the postal code of the area we live in? But like previously mentioned, overall, it was quite straightforward process. And also the UCT staff was quite helpful because I often reached out to them for assistance and things, and they were more than willing to assist. And also, I heard my leadership speaking about the 100 Rand application fee, and I actually forgot to pay my 100 Rand application fee, but UCT sent me an email reminding me, and the reason I'm mentioning this is because there's constant communication even at the application level. How am I finding being at UCT so far? Fortunately for me, throughout my high school, I heard the words university is not going to be easy. At high school, we spoon feed you. It's not going to happen at university. So when I walked into the university environment, I sort of indirectly knew what to expect. So overall, it's been okay. Sadly, as mentioned, we haven't been able to have the full university experience due to COVID-19 and the restrictions. But I need to add that university lecturers, or the ones that I've been in contact with and have worked with, honestly pushes and tries to make the virtual classrooms as fun as possible. And obviously, some days are just better than others, and you'll run to the meme page on Instagram or go to your course group chat. So even when your PO checks in with you from Gerwel fellowship, and you just vent or have a good laugh, and it becomes quite becomes obvious that being part of the JGF family is much more than just the ordinary scholarship or bursary. And there is never a time that you feel alone. Literally, there's never a time you feel alone. There's always someone ready from JGF candidate fellows to motivate you, to push you, and just to give you that boost to move forward again. So as mentioned, overall, it's okay. It's a lot of work, a lot of hard work, but it's very much doable and very much possible. Any advice that I can give to applicants applying to the Gerwel Fellowship is to apply. I know it can become daunting to look at the application form, and for example, you see sports and you didn't do sports because your school doesn't offer sports, and now in your mind, your application form does not stand a chance because you are leaving that space open or saying that you didn't do any sports. But even that time, I will encourage you to apply, because ultimately that is a choice JGF needs to make, and hand it over into their capable hands and apply, because you will never know unless you try. Also, be as honest as possible and be your unique self, because that is what JGF is looking for. JGF is looking for you as an individual. Society is looking for you as an individual, because ultimately that is what makes you you. And in conclusion, the moment you start your application, regardless of the outcome, you embark on a journey with JGF, you embark on a journey with UCT, but most importantly, you embark on a journey with yourself, on self-discovery, and that is what makes it so special. So I'm wishing you all of the best with the application processes, and yeah, thank you so much.
That candidate fellow, Unati, can you please join us?
Hi. So my name's Unati. Hi. My name's Unati Mahlalela, and I'm a first-year student, music student at UCT. So I come from Pietermaritzburg in KZN, and I attended Pietermaritzburg Girls High School. I'm currently studying a Bachelor of Music, which is a 4-year degree. And so far, so good. The teaching subjects that I want to do is music, English, and LOs. Particularly music, because one, music is like my biggest passion. So it's been something I've always wanted to do since I was a kid. But also it's a thing of not a lot of people seem to take anything artistic, especially with music, seriously. Everyone thinks it's just a hobby, you know, something you pick up when you're bored. You know, you just play an instrument and you sing la la la. But with teaching, that it becomes a problem, because not a lot of people venture out into teaching because they think there's not much you can do with teaching. So if I can combine my love for teaching and music, you know, and get to impart and talk to young minds, then great. English and LO are why I find them interesting. They're very conversational kind of subjects. Yes, there's literature and poetry in English, and then there's the serious matters in LO, but it's really, those are two subjects where you can engage on a more personal level with learners. So it's not only about teaching, but you can also gain perspective from your learners, and you can have serious conversations that can spark change later on in the country and globally. So what motivates me to teach is basically what I've said, that teaching is not only about teaching somebody, it's not only about leading somebody, but it's also a chance where you can kind of humble yourself and take a step back and hear from what other people have to say. So it's not only about me getting up in front of a classroom and teaching my syllabus. I get to also ask my learners, you know, what can I do differently? What do you want to expect from me as a teacher? What things in the syllabus are maybe not beneficial, and what could be added onto to be beneficial. But besides that as well, on a social level, teaching opens a lot of doors. And like I said, you can have important conversations that sometimes aren't happening at home or in a peer level kind of discussion that you can have in your classroom. So my UCT experience so far, it's been interesting, like Munaka said, because obviously with online learning, you're not always on campus. So you don't really get that university kind of vibe. But yeah, online, it's not bad, because at least you can, it's easily accessible, not to all. Sometimes it is a challenge with network, but it's a matter of, if in the morning, let's say you cannot attend a certain lecture, you can always reschedule it on Zoom later and have it at a different time, because it's on the internet, you know, you can access whichever time you wish to. But also online learning takes a lot of strength and diligence, because there's always that thing of, because it's online, you can choose to not attend. the online lecture and just watch the recording, so you can just sleep in and whatever. So it teaches you a lot of discipline, time management, and all those valuable skills that will be valuable later in the workspace. So some advice for new candidates. As Umzi said, prayer works. I'm here because of prayer. I strongly believe that if I did not say my prayers, I would not be here today. But also it's a process of, you need to work smart and not hard. A lot of people think if you work hard and you stay up late and you have no sleep and you just work, that you're going to achieve, which yes, you can. But if you work smart and you plan yourself properly and you push yourself, but not too much, and you give yourself time to breathe as well and be kind to yourself as well, then you can achieve, great things. But also with the application processes, don't be afraid to ask questions. A mistake I did was trying to do it all by myself. And it almost got to a point where I was going to give up on any sort of applications whatsoever, whether it was for JGF, whether it was for UCT, because sometimes it got a bit much. Like, it was a thing of, how do I, where do I get this stuff? How do I print this? And it was those sort of little challenges. And do I need this? Do I need that? What do I need? And you ask these questions, but obviously you can't answer them. You have to reach out and say, hey, look, I'm a bit confused on this section of the application. May I get some assistance? And that's the great thing about most of these institutions. They are so helpful with helping, so helpful with information, and they are there for you to guide you as well. So I hope to future JGF candidates, to future UCT students, all the best, and yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, Nati. As you put it, don't try to do it all by yourself. We are going to provide you guys now with some contact information that will enable you to contact Gununzi if you have other questions from this. And then we have some questions. You can contact us on the WhatsApp line that's there. You can go on our website as well. So we are here for you. As we said, this is a roadmap for change. So we are taking this journey with you as Gerwel Fellowship, as UCT. So come and join us. Apply as soon as you can. Whatever support you need, we'll always be here for you. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Gununzi, for coming through and sharing so passionately about the work that you do and the opportunities available to our students at UCT. And thank you so much to my colleagues who've answered some of your questions. And thank you to our candidate fellows for sharing as well their own experiences, their own advices. As they said, they were in the same chair that you might find yourself today. So all the best to everyone who was here. You can share about this webinar series. They will also be available on our social media page, so you can invite other people who would like to join. So if you're interested in the PGCE or doing a PGCE as well, you are more than welcome to come through next week on Monday to get more information in terms of where to apply, how to apply, and we'll be having one with the University of Pretoria on Monday, same time, same place. Just join us. Thank you so much.